Sometimes your greatest friend or ally is indeed your greatest enemy. Krillin's understanding a lot today, but let's see how long that will last. Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now, with some stories when it comes to changing the physiology of a character or what kind of path they choose to take within a specific narrative, it can easily get a little bit out there, really meta, and sometimes changes the outlook completely in a series into something that isn't quite what Dragon Ball envisioned for its characters, what it had in mind. But then again, can the likes of Shenron change a person into something else? Transfiguration? Body swapping? Mind swapping? It's not all that clear, and it hasn't been categorically ruled out though by the creator, as far as I'm aware. That's what we are tackling in today's story. The idea that the best friend of Goku had lamented falling behind him back in the days of the original Dragon Ball, and so therefore took a chance in asking for said potential, and got something else entirely. What if Krillin became a Saiyan? Wanting to be like Goku, that's what this little guy got the idea for in asking Shenron whether he could be more like his buddy, in that he had the power and potential as well as the strength increase. Well, he did get that, to be fair, and actually more so without even knowing it. As I mentioned just now, Shenron's power regarding changing people into different species is not fully understood or solidly explored, so we are choosing to actually give it a whirl, in that Krillin did stumble his way into becoming a Saiyan. Once possessing a tail, that was quickly removed after he became a great ape in the Saiyan saga, but everything else was very well received, including the wonderful Zenkai, which is also attracting the attention of even Vegeta, the guy who was most sickened of the presence, that the idea even of a non-Saiyan somehow tapping into their walled garden of powers. In the last part, we had round 2 of Vegeta vs Krillin on Namek, as they were keen to settle the score free from intervention from other outside factors, but unfortunately that wasn't to be, sadly due to the fact that they were both there for the Dragon Balls. They were both trying to skate clear away from the Frieza Force. That's a big pain in the bum, to be honest. But in the end, this led to them joining forces for the time being, and for the Prince to capitalise on Krillin's new traits of being a Saiyan that were identical to his own. With Gohan lucky to get out of trouble, thanks to a slightly careless Bulma in the last part, the Dragon team are slowly but surely getting a handle of the Namekian orbs, and Vegeta was able to really put a cat amongst the pigeons with his own power increase and ultimately icing Zarbon, his, for the moment, caretaker. The mood is apprehensive. Gohan and Krillin are witnessing their previous enemy offering an olive branch, or what the space-of equivalent of an olive would be, in regards to their current predicament. Krillin didn't know much about what it meant to be a Saiyan in terms of the history, so Vegeta's tutelage at the moment could be pretty illuminating, and his current pivot is noteworthy in being very unusual. But it is unusual, and that's something that doesn't sit right with Krillin. But there was no mistaking that those 5 powers were heading towards them, towards the planet. It seems like Vegeta is telling the truth. But Gohan then asks whether they have time to improve at all in the minutes they have before the power lands on the planet. Dende reluctantly offers to help, offering his healing services. "It pains me to offer help to the likes of you," he looks towards Vegeta sickeningly, "but my friends trust you. I can heal you both." Krillin is pleased to hear this, him willing to offer. It meant that their sensu beams were safe and not dwindling any further. That would make the beam machine feel much better in the long run. "Okay, but if you try anything funny, Vegeta, those ghouls there will finish you. Consider them my insurance policy." "Don't push your luck, imposter. You are in no position to flex your muscles. Let's get this over with." Gohan is then told to take the Dragon Ball that they had back to the base, whilst Krillin and Vegeta quickly spar, going all out as fast as they can, hopefully healing in time before it's too late. But it is too late. The Ginyu Force arrive. They're not going to get much time. Disembarking from their pods, Captain Ginyu and their crew report to Frieza, who informs them all that Vegeta has indeed gone rogue and destroyed most of his battalion, ended Zarbon, and stolen the Dragon Balls from under his very nose. Ginyu closes his eyes and sighs. "I should have known that Despot would have betrayed you, Lord Frieza. It is indeed entirely my fault for not being here in person to oversee operations up until now and put him in his place sooner." "Don't beat yourself up over this, Ginyu. I would rather you beat up that foolish monkey instead. That is a far better use of your time." Agreed, my liege. Then, set your scouters onto Vegeta, and let's teach him a lesson. He will rue the day that he would ever try to get in our leader's way. They then do a little jig to boost morale before flying off in the direction of Vegeta. Frieza is left standing there to both praise their gusto as well as question their style. As the battle proceeds, Vegeta can sense that the Ginyus are coming this way right now, and is hurling expletives in Krillin's direction for not going all out, not trying hard enough, but neither of them had been able to make much headway in injuring one another, and so this got under the prince's skin. Useless! This is no time to be soft, imposter! Give me all you have! This was the last straw. Krillin had had enough of being called a faker, an imposter, and he let rip. Kaioken times 5, something he hadn't dared try for risking great injury before, but that was what the prince wanted. I mean, my name is Krillin! He goes red, punches a clean hole right through Vegeta's torso, and this leaves both reeling. Vegeta with obviously a hole in the chest, and Krillin collapsing from pushing his body further than ever. But he wasn't actually that badly injured. He was surprised to feel that times 5 Kaioken hadn't torn him apart like he thought it would. Seems like this unlocking of potential that Guru did was actually pretty handy. It still hurt though. Dende gingerly makes his way to Krillin and heals him up with Vegeta coughing and spluttering for the healer to get to him. You can wait. Now you'll feel what it's like to suffer like my people are right now. All thanks to your leader's selfish desires. No, it's not the time to be all high and mighty, runt. Just get on with it. Krillin's injuries were less, and so therefore that meant he was able to heal up quickly. But his power increase wasn't as great as Vegeta's would be. But that guy needed more time to heal as Ginyu arrived on the scene. At the sight of Krillin, Ginyu and his crew let out a laugh of derision. Is this it? Is this the problem? A short stack and a prince already out cold? This will be no trouble at all. I don't even see why we even needed to come here. Raccoon, be a dear and finish this one off quickly.
Wait, Captain. I can finish this off even quicker. After all, my speed is unmatched by any in the universe.
Doesn't matter who it is, Berta. All right, let rip. Berta cracks his knuckles and readies himself whilst Jace is checking out the power to see how easy this will be. He really wished that he hadn't. The scouter read bad news. Berta, you might want to be careful with this one. The scouter says that he's over 80,000.
What? That little guy? Don't be silly, Jace. I've got this.
Ignoring this warning, badly, Berta leaps in and meets nothing. All he can see is the little Namekian healing Vegeta. Having missed something of the first, Berta takes his annoyance of being outpaced on Dende, firing a blast at him, but Krillin re-emerges and deflects the blast, which takes out a whole hill in the background. Krillin felt incredible. He knew his power was greater than 80,000, but there was no need to go all out just yet. Why was he even worried in the first place? Big mistake, buddy! With one swift kick forward, Berta is sent to the floor in agony, clutching his gut. The rest of his team are left stunned. How did their scouters not possibly recognize this strength beforehand? They could have prepared for this. Well, when they programmed in their course, both Vegeta and Krillin's powers were at least half of what they are now of this one. This increase was so abrupt, to say the least. With the rest of his teammates chalking this up to a mistake on Berta's part, out of just sheer terror and denial, Ginyu orders him to get back up and try again. But the same thing happens again, only with the blue guy taking longer to get up this time. Berta, seriously, the scouter's no joke! Be careful! You want a hand?
No! This guy's got under my skin! I'll get him even if it kills me.
Your words, not mine! Growls Krillin before letting out a flurry of blows so fast that only Ginyu can keep up with it. The rest of his crew are left horrified and unable to see a thing. Berta is out cold, Krillin choosing to spare him. Let that be a warning to you! Get out of here if you know what's good for you! Ginyu, unlike his crew, let out a laugh. Not bad, Pipsqueak, but despite your impressive power, you are no match for myself. Krillin, letting his inner Saiyan pride get the better of him in this moment, really unfortunate, chooses now to hammer home his warning. He lets out his power, and even though his injuries weren't as severe as Vegeta's, the increase of that Zenkai was certainly present. Kaioken would definitely not be necessary here. All of the Ginyu Force's scouters shatter in seconds. The last reading that any scouter got was that of 300,000. How was that possible? Well, it's enough to terrify Ginyu's posse, but Ginyu, he's got an idea. He postulates some more before flexing his muscle, trying to hide his nervousness. Not bad. You've got my attention. I'll fight you. Are you sure? You're no match for me now, says an overly confident Krillin. Definitely. He gets into position and Jace instantly understands what the captain is up to and feels much more assured. That catches Krillin off guard, but this distraction is just the beginning. Ginyu then slams his fist into his own chest, injuring himself badly like in the original, before then letting out a yell. Change now! Krillin and Ginyu switch bodies in a second without the former having the chance to counter. When the light dissipates, Krillin can feel a stinging in his chest, right where Ginyu had hit himself. He looks down and then sees a torso with purple skin. What? What's going on? Why am I in this body? Now you understand why it is wrong to get in the way of the Ginyu Force, Saiyan. Enjoy walking that off. Jace, can you get a chance to read this body's power? Is it close to 300,000? Jace then reminds the captain that all the scouters got total just now, so they don't know. But the captain chooses to shrug this off, decides to go for it anyway. He decides to attack the stricken Krillin Ginyu, but despite the latter being hurt, the attacks weren't as bad as he had expected. Something wasn't right. What is going on? This body should be so strong that I can shatter you in the blink of an eye! There is then suddenly a laugh from behind. I can answer your question, Ginyu. No, you're not even close to the Runt's power potential. Vegeta! You're alive! Krillin Ginyu then can sense Vegeta's power, and thanks to his injury being more severe, his power was just as great as his had gotten. Krillin and Vegeta were now, in theory, equal. Good thing that he had Kaioken on top of that to keep the balance in favor of the good guys if they're able to get out of this. Sorry, Ginyu, but your time to get used to that imp's body is up. Allow me to break it in further for you. Vegeta, don't get any ideas! Cease your prattle! I'm going to enjoy this. In the midst of this, Gohan has arrived back at base with a Dragon Ball, but he can sense something else. Something he recognized, but it wasn't Krillin or Vegeta. It wasn't far away either. It was Goku. His dad had arrived in time.
Yay! Dad made it! I hope he can make it in time to help Krillin.
Oh, Gohan, Krillin didn't need any help right this second. Goku is surveying the scene, and his training had proven pretty good, being a base power of about 120,000 after all of this gravity training. But this was not enough, it seems. He can sense Vegeta and Krillin, and their power had... How did that happen? They were way stronger than him. Whatever happened, he wanted a piece of this. Without another moment's hesitation, he rushes to the scene. However, as he was flying at fantastic speed, he could sense Vegeta's power sparking and Krillin's getting worse, and assuming that Vegeta had gotten Krillin. But fortunately for Goku, this wasn't the case. Vegeta was on their side for the time being. Ginyu Krillin had no answer to this, and even with Recoome and Jace jumping in to help their captain, they still couldn't stop the prince. Goldo tried his best to assist with his time freeze, but then had to contend with Krillin Ginyu, who despite his injuries, had enough strength left to at least put this green dude in his place and knock him out cold. Vegeta though was far crueler, and iced both Recoome and Jace without question. When the dust had settled, Krillin Ginyu saw that both these two were dead, and he told Vegeta not to do the same to Ginyu in his body. Don't you tell me what to do! Be grateful that I'm even helping you out! Ginyu Krillin lets out a laugh. No matter his plan didn't work, he was buoyed by avenging his fallen crew. You will pay for that, Vegeta! You've made a strong case. Strong case? For what? Change now! Krillin Ginyu saw this coming a mile off, and like in the original with Goku Ginyu, leapt in the way of the attack, leaving Ginyu back in his body and Krillin in his, in agony. Vegeta, without acknowledging Krillin's heroics at all, slinks over to Ginyu in pain on the ground and places a hand over his mouth to ensure he can't do that again. You're right. There will be change. Now and forever. He blasts Ginyu to bits. When the smoke clears, Ginyu is gone completely, and Krillin is on the ground. Thanks, Vegeta. We did a good job. I can't move. Pass me a sense of beans, will ya? He motions his head to the bag located in his belt, to which the prince takes, but doesn't give him any beans. Thanks for the beans, imposter. I think I'll be taking these. Might come in handy when I go and finish off Frieza. And oh yes, those two you let live. They are going to enjoy taking their anger out on you killing their crew. Pleasure doing business with you, pint size. With that, Vegeta takes the beans, grabs Dende by the back, and flies away, leaving Krillin helpless. Sure enough, Berta and Goldo did come to see Recoome and Jace lifeless and no trace of Ginyu whatsoever. They were livid.
You killed our friends. No more mercy. Goldo, make him suffer.
Gladly! Goldo gets into position and is about to hold his breath with Krillin looking on, unable to do a thing. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you folks think? How will Krillin get out of this? Is Vegeta strong enough to stop Frieza right now? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!